Hello girls and boys, this is MuscledRider and welcome back to the channel. So I am on my Dominar 400 and as you can see I have almost covered 930 kilometers on my motorcycle, and I think I am in a right situation now to say something good and some bad points about my motorcycle. So without wasting much time, let's get started with it. So today I have a friend with me who is riding his RTR 200 4V and his bike is brand new. So yeah, I will be definitely riding his machine today, but first let's start with this video. So talking about the bad points first. The first bad point I would definitely like to mark, that is the engine vibrations. Coming from an CBR 250R, which was an ultra refined machine, and coming to the Dominar, I can definitely feel the vibrations from the engine. Now, the vibrations on the Dominar 400 are not that bad, but you can definitely feel them on the tank at around 3000 rpm to 5000 rpm while you are sedately riding at a steady pace. I'm once again telling the vibrations on the Dominar are not that bad, but when you are traveling or when you are touring for the long distances, you can feel the vibrations, and I think that are not great while you are traveling on the long distances on the motorcycle. So the second negative point about the Dominar 400 is definitely going to be the... Yeah, that was a squid. Yeah, so second point, bad point about the Dominar 400 is definitely going to be the absence of gear indicator, gear position indicator on the instrument cluster. I mean, nowadays even the Axor 150 offers an gear position indicator on its instrument cluster, but the Dominar 400 doesn't offer it on its instrument cluster. So it would have been great if they would have put the gear position indicator feature on the instrument cluster. That was the second bad point about the Dominar 400. The third bad point about the Dominar 400, now that is not a bad point, you can definitely fix it by an aftermarket accessory or so, but as Bajaj says, this motorcycle was made for hyper touring, was made for munching distances and miles, so they would have definitely offered attachment for some panniers or some luggage carriers on the Dominar 400. That would have been great for people who travel long distances on this motorcycle. That was the third bad point about the Dominar 400. Now moving to the fourth bad point of the Dominar 400, which is again related to touring aspects. Now this motorcycle is capable of doing decent amount of speeds on the highways. You can do around 130 or 150 on the highways, but on such speeds you definitely need better wind protection, and that's a big argument when we ride a naked bikes. The wind protection on the naked bikes is horrible, so they would have given a better wind protection on the Dominar 400, or they would have offered accessory windscreen that would have solved the problem, like some of the motorcycles offer a touring kit to make their sporty motorcycles a bit on the touring side. So that would have been great. Anyways, people fix it by purchasing an aftermarket windscreen. So that was the fourth bad point, the fourth negative point about the Dominar 400. Now coming to the fifth bad point, the fifth negative point on the Dominar 400 as per my observations. is the curb weight. Now, weighing at 182 kgs, the Dominar 400 is not a light machine, not a light motorcycle. It's definitely heavy to maneuver in the traffic, especially for a short rider like me who always finds tiptoeing on every motorcycle. The motorcycle could have been lighter. You don't really feel the weight on the twisties, even in the corners or on the highways. But yes, you can definitely feel in the stop-go traffic conditions when you have to go and filter through the traffic conditions. And yes, the motorcycle is bit longer compared to other motorcycles in its class, which is one more reason you can't filter this motorcycle in the city. But Bajaj never said that this motorcycle was made for the urban environment or such. This was made for the highways. So these were the negative points about the Dominar 400. But I would like to add one more negative point, that is the gearbox could have been a lot smoother. Don't get me wrong, the gearbox is butter smooth while you are upshifting. You can even do clutchless upshifts. But when you are downshifting the gearbox, when you are working down the gears, you don't really feel the smoothness in the gearbox. The gearbox while downshifting could have been a bit smoother. This was just a point I would like to add. And look, while upshifting, look, I'm not even using a clutch, and look, it's upshifts without any problem, unless you are doing clutchless upshifts correctly. That is, you need to release the gas a bit while you are changing the gears, so it easily slots into next gear. So this was all about the negative points about the Dominar 400. So now let's move to the good points on the Dominar 400. So starting with the first good point on the Dominar 400 is definitely the ride quality. That is the suspension. The front suspension is soft, smooth and plush. It goes over bumps really well. The rear is bit on the stiffer side, and for me it's bit more stiffer because I have made it a bit stiffer by lowering its height by 1 mm. So for me, the suspension, the rear suspension is bit more stiffer. Yeah, but the front suspension is plush, smooth and super soft. So while you're riding on the bumps or on the uneven road patches, you're in the comfort zone. So, and you're not supposed to ride this motorcycle as an off-roader or as an Himalayan. It's definitely not an off-road machine, but yeah, it will do a decent job on the broken or unpaved roads. So this was the first point on the Dominar 400. Now moving to the second point. The second good point on the Dominar 400 is the engine. Yeah, I know I said that the engine on the Dominar 400 is not refined as the CBR, as my first older CBR 250R. But then again, the engine on the Dominar 400 is lifted from Duke 390, which has the same cubic capacity, 373cc, single cylinder, while this one gets a single overhead cam and the Duke 390 gets a double overhead cam. But this one has a 4-valve, the Duke 390 even has a 4-valve setup. But the way Bajaj has tuned this engine, you can feel the power of the engine from about 5,000 RPM to 6.5 or 7,500 RPM. So the acceleration on the Dominar 400 is not as insane as the Duke 390, but it's nowhere slow. It's properly fast. Here is I am saying the mid-range on the Dominar 400 is great for the overtakes on the highway conditions, and as I said earlier, while you are cornering, you are always in the peak torque range. It produces around 35 horsepower and produces same 35 Nm of torque as the Duke 390. But the power here is concentrated in the mid-range and the low end, more at the mid-range. So while you're riding, you're always in that grunty mid-range. That was the second good point on the Dominar 400. Now moving to the third good point on the Dominar 400 is the cornering ability. In spite of the heavy weight, the Dominar 400 definitely handles the corners very well. Look, changes directions like an lightweight machine. Even the tires offer a great grip. Yeah. And here comes the second point to play, the torque. You're always in the meaty, grunty mid-range. So you can rip out of corners like this without changing gears. And then the slipper clutch works like a charm while you want to downshift. Not a great day to review a motorcycle. It's raining like hell. We were discussing the good points about the motorcycle, and yes, the third good point about the motorcycle is definitely the brakes. I would have liked to mention it as a first point because it is the best point on this motorcycle. The brakes on this motorcycle are great. It has an ABS at a valuable cost, at a value for money cost. It offers the same brakes as the Duke 390, the 320mm front disc and the smaller disc at the rear. I don't know the size of the disc at the rear, but it might be around 220mm or so. But the front is the 320mm front disc and even has an same ABS unit. I think it has a 9M Bosch ABS unit, same as the Duke 390 offers. It stops really well, but when you again compare to the Duke 390, the Duke 390 stops a bit well than this because it has a synthetic brake pads and it weighs even less than the Dominar 400. But keeping the comparison aside, when you are riding, the brakes on the Dominar 400 are really well. It really has a great feedback and the ABS really works well on this motorcycle. Even in the wet, rainy seasons, you really feel safe while braking on this motorcycle. Now talking about the fourth good point of the Dominar 400 is the lights. The Dominar 400 has a great lights. The lights has a great visibility at the night time. Even under the low beam setting, the lights offer a great spread at the night. So you can tour even in the night times. So yeah, the next good point about the Dominar 400 has to be the slipper clutch. Offers and slipper clutch, slip and assist clutch. So while downshifting like this, you don't have any wheel hop. The wheel doesn't rock under hard downshifting, and you don't even feel that kind of jerk while you are downshifting. The downshifts on the Dominar 400 are butter smooth because of the slipper clutch. So it even helps while you are cornering, you are doing spirited rides, when you are constantly downshifting before you hit a corner to rev match and to exit like a rocket. Yeah, so at that time the slipper clutch helps, really helps. And because of the slipper clutch, the clutch action is also light. So in traffic, in city conditions, the clutch is light, so it definitely feels good to operate a light clutch in stop-go light situations. So that was the another good point about the Dominar 400. So the next good point about the Dominar 400 is the sitting position. The sitting position on the Dominar 400 is relaxed, made for highways, made for touring. So it's nowhere uncomfortable as the other bikes in this category. The handlebars on the Dominar 400 are upright, raised and wide. The foot pegs are not that rear set, and they aren't that high. The foot pegs are low and they are kind of center set foot pegs, so you don't feel cramped up on the motorcycle. There is lots of space to move around on the motorcycle, so you don't feel uncomfortable while touring for long distances. So coming to the next good point on the Dominar 400 is the heating issue. I have ridden the Dominar 400 in the city conditions, in the stoplight city traffic, and I haven't observed the fan kicked in yet. I mean, yes, the fan kicks in while you are standing at the same point for a long time. So at that time the fan kicks in, but the fan on the Dominar 400 kicks in lot less frequently compared to the Duke 390 or Duke 250 or other bike in this category. Another good point on the Dominar 400. These were the good and the bad points on the Dominar 400 as per my observations, and this is not a review. This is just what I feel about my motorcycle. Hope you like the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed watching the video. Hope you enjoyed watching the earlier vlogs too. If you haven't watched the earlier ride videos, do watch it. They are available on the channel. So till next time, ride safe, drive safe. Oh my god, there are a lot of potholes. Yeah, that is why. Ride safe, drive safe, and meet you in the next vlog.